Hey guys, Crystal here with a new Don't Starve video drawing thingy, and this time it is Wickerbottom, and Garf504 suggested it in one of the other episodes of this drawing thing, and I was like, well, maybe I might, and I ended up doing it. So this was definitely, I know I say this like in all of them, but this was a challenge for me too because, like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's hard to draw like older people. And so I found this kind of like a really tough challenge. I drew her like a few times and I was like, okay, I finally got situated and liked the one I ended up with. And then there was this one. And then afterwards, I remembered what another one of you guys had told me was to try and sketch out like the background. So I kind of did, sorta. I decided to put like one of the science machines in the background because I think, or if I remember correctly, one of her perks is to have like +1 science in it or something. Or maybe it's not science or knowledge, something like that. I know she had a book or books and stuff like that, so I tried to like play to it, and I know there's like this I don't know where I was going with that. Okay. Wow. I ended up enjoying it though. I was like, in the other one that I drew though, I drew a different hand, in a different way. And I was like, oh, I really like that hand. And I kind of didn't want to go with a new like pose because I really like that hand. But then I was like, you know what, I'll just do this other one. And the hand didn't come out as good as the other one, but I still ended up liking it better than my normal hands. And yes, there is still room for improvement, but I enjoyed it. And I was drawing the book kind of like, she was flipping through it or whatever. And I've also come across like this other problem that I've noticed with this one, and I don't know why. I think it was in my last one I changed something at the end of the video and then I didn't change it back, and now I don't know what happened or what I did. So if you guys know anything about like when I went to go erase things, it would only erase in a certain opacity, and then I had to erase it over and over and over again for it to actually erase. Otherwise it wouldn't erase, and then it would only be half erased or whatever. And if you guys know how to change that, I looked at the settings and I just didn't know how. So with this shirt here, I decided to not go with the like little tiny stripes like I did with Wilson. I kind of spaced them out a little more, but I did do that with her skirt. I was like, oh yes, because your skirt kind of sort of looked like it. So I told you guys last time that I would tell you this time what was up, and the sky is up, but that's not exactly what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I was on vacation this last week, and I just got back Saturday morning, so I slept all... No, I didn't sleep. I slept all today, actually. But yesterday, I got back yesterday, I went to IKEA because I was like, oh, I want to check out IKEA, and I've never really been. And it's awesome, and it's amazing, and it's a huge store, and it got me super tired. And I went to bed super early, and I was like, whoa. And I slept super long. I slept for like 12 hours. But I went to go visit a friend in Ohio, and we went to Cedar Point, and it was a lot of fun. And we had a blast. And by the end of the day, our feet were like so on fire. So it was great. And that's what I was doing, and that's why this video is out a little later. I'll try to have them out on Fridays, and I'm gonna be trying to stick to the schedule sooner and everything. So this piece of the science machine, I tried to do the lines a little thinner, and I wanted them to be like a little blurry because it's not like the foreground. So I used a Gaussian blur, Gaussian, however you say that. How do you guys say that? If you can even tell me how you say that in the comments, like, go ahead. But that's what I used for the background, and I even used that for the shading and the highlights, especially with that one. And I had to put a background on this one because I was like, I can't see the difference. It's in the colors. And then you see me going back and fixing everything, and I'm like, no. But yeah. It was a lot of fun doing this one. And the science machine in the background, I was like, oh cool. It came out better than I thought. And I liked how I did her hair. It was a little different than how I'm doing most of them. I didn't put much shading on her hair, and I didn't put much shading on, or not shading, highlights on any of her, because I was like, you know what, it's gonna be a different type of like cloth, I guess. I was just trying to go for something different, and the only thing I really shaded, or not shaded, but put highlights on was the science machine, because I was like, you know what, that's like metal in those places, because I only put it in certain places where the gold and the silver were. Though I guess that's not metal, I guess that's more rock. Maybe it is metal, I'm not really sure how that worked. Oh, and I did put highlights on her glasses later, as you will see, and I had like, at first I had stopped it where I did all the colors and everything, and then I was like, oh no, I forgot the shading and the highlights, so I recorded that on top of it. So that's what happened there. It was pretty funny, and I was like, oh my gosh, I knew I forgot something. And you always tend to forget something when you're doing something like this. You figure it out and find out about it later after you're rewatching it, or you know, somebody tells you and you're like, oh yes, or you just know. So a couple of times I put these on different layers. I got a little confused with myself on what was on what layer, goodness, and I just had to like go through them again, and then I was like, oh okay, I put that on that layer and this on that layer, and blah blah blah. I really ended up enjoying the Gaussian blur on everything, because it gave it a sense of depth, or at least a little more of depth than it originally gave. And I think this little contraption thing is really cute. I don't know why, but I really liked it. So her, again, going back to her style in the Don't Starve style, her hair and her skirt type thing are the same kind of like Don't Starve-ish, I guess, kind of style. That's how I perceive it anyway. It's not like messy lines, but it's like messy lines, if you get what I'm saying. And at first, you can see here, I had gone over it in shading and everything, especially for her clothes and for her skin. And then I figured out later, I was like, oh no, you know, after I did this part with the science machine, I was like, oh, that looks so good, you know. And then I went back and I looked at her and I was like, you can't even tell I put shading on there. So I tried to make it a little darker afterwards, which ended up looking better. But I gotta say, I think the best part was the science machine. Maybe I just knew how to shade that just right, and I'm still experimenting with humans, because, you know, humans are tough, okay? Humans are tough. They're not this weird shape. They're like symmetrical, almost. So that's tough. But I had a lot of fun, and I want you guys to know that I appreciate everything you guys say and everything you guys do, and just everything. You guys inspire me so much, and I want to say thank you, and you're amazing. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye! did a different kind of like background, and I wanted it to be messy a bit.